But here's a story that is trending right now that I think fits exactly what we do on the SOSCAST, where finance meets romance. And basically it is this. There's a new dating rule, a dating trend that says that women should not sleep with men unless they've spent how much? $2,000 on them. Now, not like a call girl or not anything like that, on dates, on dinners, on gifts, a reward type system. So $2,000 is the going rate for sex with women. And these are not prostitutes. These are not OnlyFans girls.
Right.
These are just normal, nice girls out there in the marketplace. Max already has an issue with this. So it's obviously sparking some debate, demanding that men pay this $2,000 sort of ransom for that ass. A sex columnist said that if a man's libido can withstand that many dates, then he's a keeper. So it's the woman basically saying, how do we determine if a man is a keeper? A lot of this basically was tracked down to what Joe Rogan had to say about something that he calls PNS, not PMS. PNS stands for, wait for it, drum roll, earmuffs if you're younger than 18, post-nut syndrome. So we'll talk about that. Tiffany loves that one. But can we go to that article real quick, Humberto, so everyone has a full effect of what's going on here?
Yeah, I think you...
By the way, guys, pan out on the shots here. Dating rule 1 says women shouldn't sleep with men unless they've spent $2K on them. Scroll down. There's actually a video of the woman who was basically saying this. Hit the volume.
Volume is,
$1,000 on me. And like she told us, me and my friend, she was like, before I sleep with a guy, he has to spend $2,000 on me in like dates. And I was like, what the that's crazy. She was like, well, yeah, like, you know, that basically adds up to like, you know, a bunch of nice dinners, like getting my cars, like maybe a present.
This girl will put out on a couple shots. Good for her. She's a little more what I'm used to, but she said the post-nut syndrome, we'll talk about that with Joe Rogan. But then here's the actual final advice right after Joe Rogan right here. Keep going. Random Asian couple discussing sex. We'll see about that.
Really get that.
But here it is right there. Money aside, Hawkins suggests the typical no sex window is 3 to 5 dates. So 3 to 5 dates is the recommended number of dates that a woman should go on
in like dates
before they sleep with a man. Cue up that Joe Rogan post-nut syndrome situation. We'll play that in a second. So let me start with the gentleman, then we'll get the ladies' take on this. George, when you hear this situation, you're a financial expert. You also live in a beautiful place, Medellin, Colombia. So you're around, let's just say, some nice behaved women. What's your take on this $2,000 approach?
Well, it's interesting because what I talk about on YouTube is all quantifying stuff, right? And I don't know that burning true desire for another person can be quantified. So for me personally, I would never look at some sort of dollar amount. You know, do I like the person? Do I not like the person? That would hold a lot more weight.
Like a normal human being, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. And also too, I think that you know, if you're in that guy's position, you want to go out with some gal that's actually going to want to hang out with you for you. And if she's looking at the relationship or potential relationship through the lens of some sort of monetary value, I think it's doomed right from the beginning. So, you know, depending on what you want from the relationship, but it might be time to move on. Also, I think guys should put themselves into a position where they have so many options that they're not that desperate to sleep with some gal that they go out with. You know, if you've got a lot of different people that are kind of knocking at your door, so to speak, then you don't have to be picky choosy. You don't have to be in that situation of desperation, and then you don't have to worry about gals that are trying to hit you up for money.
Yeah, exactly. The sugar baby complex. Max, I know that this is something that you probably have very strong feelings about.
Yeah.
Because you're a traditional man.
Well, first and foremost, you know, this girl that's talking about, oh, $2,000, this and that. If you really knew her personal life, you would find out most likely that she's a hypocrite. That's the nicest word that I could use. You know what I'm saying? So she's really like, oh, yeah, $2,000. But if you took a peek through her curtain, you'd see her, and doing God knows what. Second of all, say you went down this, path of spending $2,000, and then what? And then she still doesn't want to sleep with you. What do you do then? You're like out $2,000, and you're in this situation.
You have to invoice her. That's just how it works.
It's a nasty way of going about it, and maybe 2,000 pesos would be more
which is like $20. That's how much you'll spend. But
No.
here's the problem I have with this thing, and then I want to get the ladies' opinion. I'm going to break some news right now. I don't know how to say this, but I'm not a virgin, guys. Okay? I've been around the block. I've never in my life spent this amount of money before any sort of sexual encounter.
Yeah.
Now, that might sound a little, not shocking, but, hookup culture is real. I do understand the premise that the ladies are coming from here, that there does need to be some sort of vetting system, because we'll discuss what this post-nut syndrome is. For any guy that's been out there, especially a guy that has options, sometimes you're like, it's all about the hunt. It's all about the conquest. Once you kind of have it, you're kind of out the door. So there is that. I do understand that. But I think the advice here for women and men is whether it's $2,000 or whether it's 10 dates, whatever it is, have some sort of strategy or some sort of methodology rather than just sort of participating in hookup culture, because I think hookup culture is a lot worse for women. Yeah. So, they say that a key that can open up any lock is a master key, but a lock that opens up for any key is just a shitty lock. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of women out there that, to put it bluntly, are just some shitty locks. Right. And they think that they can do what men do and just sleep around and have hookup culture as if it's going to have zero negative effects on their life. But a lot of times it does. So ladies, when you hear this $2,000 banty, you're a classy gal. What's your minimum entry fee for some sort of sexual encounter? Or not even that. Like, is there a minimum amount of dates? Like, what are you looking for out there? What's your vetting system? Give us some sort of revelation.
I think for the most part, every dynamic is diverse. There's so much diversity in different dynamics and relationships. But I think, back to what you were saying, Adam, that you have to find the purpose and the reason why you're dating, right? So if you're going in to date to sleep around, then you would say something like that, like, no, my minimum is $2,000, because you know that the next person you're going to expect that also from them. When you're going into dating with the purpose of, I'm actually dating to marry, I'm dating for something serious, I'm dating for something long-term, you don't really have a minimum. You don't say I have 2,000 or it's 5,000, because it's going to be something long term, and it's going to be highly valuable. Mm-hmm. So you're going to acquire all the things that man has to offer. So it all depends on what exactly is that you're looking for and the purpose that you're going into that dynamic.
Yeah, there's a fine line, it seems like, between having a $2,000 minimum and being a prostitute.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Where's that line?
Exactly.
I think you got to give the gals credit for having intuition. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know from experience, but I would assume that when you guys go out on a date, you can tell within 3 minutes if some guy is just there to sleep with you, or if some guy is legit, some cool guy that you want to get to know further. It seems like it's almost assuming as though women just have no faculties of their own.
Well,
or sometimes they do. The problem is that because they've had bad experiences, now they've determined, they measure it. They have a metric system and put in place so that it kind of protects them. It's kind of like a security deposit. Yeah. That's how most women see it. Like, my minimum is 2,000 because at least I got something out of it, right? But again, it all goes back to what purpose are you going into this with? Because a high value woman, the same as a high value man, they don't go into it saying like, my minimum is 2,000, really, because that's the minimum, and that's actually the bare minimum. You should go into it saying like, well, you know what? I'm dating with purpose, and I'm dating for marriage. I'm dating for the whole entire picture of this, the spectrum. So there is no minimum. You just have to wait it out to see what that man can provide to you as far as ethics, morals, integrity, credibility, everything.
Well said. I want to break down what you mean, the metric system.
It's a metric system as far as that, what that woman was just saying in that article, in that video. So my minimum is 2,000. That is her system that she's put in place.
That's like basically what high-end prostitutes charge for one night.
Correct. Correct. Not that
in the United States, maybe it's different in other
countries. But even doing that, but her doing that now, she's entering a different caliber of men. She's canceling out a caliber of men that she has no interest in. That's not going to provide at least a minimum of 2,000 for her. Now, again, do I think you should go into a relationship with a number of, hey, you have to spend this? If you want me to be honest with how expensive things are, spending $2,000 doesn't take a lot of hanging out. If you want me to be honest,
that's 3 meals at McDonald's these days.
There you go. Like at the end of the day, like that number 2,000, it's going to be spent either way. But her going into
I'm going to push back on you a little bit.
No, but it's going to be spent either way if it's in a club.
How much is a dinner?
If it's in
how much is a dinner?
A nice dinner, like
how much?
It can if you
$500 on a dinner.
You go to a nice dinner.
Stop.
If men take you to a nice dinner, you're spending $300.
How often are you dropping $500 on a first date?
All the time, because
all the time.
Okay.
I get a bottle of wine, and it's usually a vintage bottle. It might be $400.
Right, it's an experience.
But are you doing that for you or for her?
Yeah, for both of us. I mean,
No, but you like the wine.
It sets a nice mood for a date, and I'm not worried about food and how much it costs on a first date.
Right.
But if you see a vibe from a girl, and then you take it from there. But chasing a girl around for multiple dates while you wait. Well, she's probably blowing some other guy for free. The next door neighbor or the UPS guy or whatever it is the most demeaning thing. I mean, I've seen it in my own personal life. Girls making some guy wait for 6 months or something like that, and then she's the freakiest, nastiest thing in the world.
Well, what's the famous phrase that they'll make a guy wait, but they'll basically just give it up for the right guy?
Don't buy into all that shit.
Whoa. If you like that one, click right here to watch the full SOSCAST. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.